Flying on a prayer, and points. Laura Benson had never been one to panic easily, but when her phone buzzed with a photo of her little sister, Chloe, beaming beside a man in a tuxedo under a string of fairy lights, her stomach dropped anyway. The caption read, "He asked, June 10th, save the date." Save it? Laura muttered. Sure. Now if only I could afford it. Chloe lived in Boston. Laura lived in Portland. And Laura's bank account lived on life support. At 28, she had mastered the delicate art of stretching a paycheck like elastic. Her job at a marketing firm paid decently but never seemed to keep pace with life, rent, groceries, and her car's mysterious thirst for new brakes every 8 months. She didn't have family nearby, and the emergency fund she kept meaning to start was still just an idea with great potential. A round-trip flight across the country in summer wedding season? She checked the prices and nearly choked on her coffee. $682? Each way? Do they serve gold-plated peanuts now? That night, she opened her fridge. Half a jar of pickles and a yogurt nearing its expiration date stared back. Well, she sighed, I could always sell the car and not eat for 3 weeks. The next day, she was at lunch with her best friend Tina, venting over salads. So, you're going to Boston, right? Tina asked. Laura stabbed a cherry tomato. Oh, sure. I've got it all figured out. Sell my car, eat only tap water, maybe start a GoFundMe called Feed a Desperate Sister. Tina laughed, nearly spitting out her lemonade. You're ridiculous. I'm resourceful, Laura said. Desperation breeds creativity. Well, before you pawn your Honda, let me tell you something. Tina leaned forward. I flew to Hawaii last month for free. Sure you did. And I once had dinner with Ryan Gosling. I'm serious, Tina said. I opened an airline credit card. They gave me 80,000 miles after I spent $3,000 in 3 months. The flight was like 65,000 round trip. Laura frowned. Wait, so you just bought a bunch of stuff to earn fake miles? Not fake. They're called miles, but they're really points, like a currency you trade for flights. And no, I didn't go on a shopping spree. I used it for things I'd buy anyway. Groceries, gas, phone bill. Paid it off every month. Free trip. Laura blinked. Tina, that sounds like one of those too good to be true TikTok things. Maybe, but it worked. Laura sat back, arms crossed. And you're telling me I can fly to my sister's wedding for free? Pretty much, if you play the game right. Great, Laura said dryly, because if there's one thing I'm good at, it's games I don't understand. That night, she fell down the rabbit hole. There were blogs with names like Travel Hacker Queen and Miles for Smiles, all promising secrets to fly around the world without paying a dime. They used words like redemption rates, partner airlines, and minimum spend requirements. It was like learning another language, one where $3,000 didn't mean $3,000, it meant a very nervous few months of careful spending. Still, the math checked out. If she opened the right airline card, one that partnered with flights from Portland to Boston, and hit that $3,000 mark using only regular expenses, she'd earn roughly 80,000 points. A round trip would cost about 65,000. That leaves 15,000, she told herself aloud. Enough for a pretzel and half a coffee in the airport. She smiled. For the first time since Chloe's text, the whole idea didn't seem impossible. 2 weeks later, the envelope arrived. Congratulations. You're approved for the Sky Travel Rewards card. Laura placed it on the counter like a ticking bomb. She even named it, Danger. Okay, Danger, she muttered. We're only buying things we need. Groceries, gas, phone, insurance. You and me, no nonsense. At first, it went smoothly. She set reminders to pay it off every month, refusing to leave a balance. She even began enjoying the small rush of checking her growing credit card balance, like watching a tiny army form under her command. By month 2 though, life began to test her. Her car battery died, her landlord raised rent by $75, and Tina's birthday dinner somehow involved splitting a $160 bill at a trendy fusion place called Oregano's. Happy birthday, Laura said, eyeing the bill. Remind me next year to get you a gift card instead. Still, she stayed disciplined. When the 3-month mark arrived, she had spent just over $3,000, responsibly. When she logged in that night and saw the reward points hit her account, she let out a whoop that startled her cat. I did it, she told the cat. I gamed the system. You're looking at a free flight survivor. The cat yawned. Booking the flight, however, turned out to be another adventure. She learned quickly that miles weren't measured like geography. 80,000 miles didn't mean she could circle the globe twice, it meant she could fly coach to Boston if she was flexible and avoided weekends. She scrolled through the options. 65,000 points. A 4-hour layover in Denver. Middle seat. Boarding Group Z. Well, she said. I did say I wanted an adventure. When she finally hit confirm, the screen flashed. Your flight has been booked using 65,000 points. Taxes and fees. $11.20. She stared at the number. $11.20 for a round-trip flight. Sweet. Laura raised her arms like she'd just landed a plane herself. Who needs a sugar daddy when you have Sky Travel rewards? The weeks leading up to the trip felt sweeter. She mailed Chloe a handmade card that said, "Guess who's coming to the wedding?" with a little airplane doodled across the front. Her sister called that night, crying happy tears. "Laura, you're really coming? I wouldn't miss it. You only get married once." "Well, hopefully," Chloe laughed. The day of the flight arrived clear and bright. Laura sat by the airport window, clutching her boarding pass and a coffee she'd paid for in cash, because points or not, some things were sacred. Watching the plane's taxi, she thought back to that day at lunch when she'd joked about selling her car. Now, she was boarding a flight she'd earned with patience and planning, not panic. She grinned. "Guess who's the savvy traveler now, Tina?" When she stepped off the plane in Boston, the humid summer air hit her like a memory of home, childhood summers, backyard sprinklers, and Chloe chasing her barefoot through the grass. Her sister's face lit up when she saw her. "You made it." "Yep," Laura said, hugging her tight, "and I didn't have to sell a kidney." The wedding was beautiful. Simple, heartfelt, full of laughter and toasts that made her eyes sting. At one point, as the music played and Chloe twirled with her new husband, Laura looked around the reception hall, at her family, at the candles flickering in mason jars, and felt something like peace. She'd flown across the country, not just for the wedding, but for the reminder that she could make things happen when they mattered. Back home a few days later, she sat at her kitchen table, logging into her Sky Travel account. Her balance now read 14,732 points. She said. "Where does that get me? Maybe Boise." She laughed to herself and closed the laptop. The truth was, it wasn't really about the points. It was about proving she could make her own luck, with a little cleverness, a good friend, and a sense of humor. Before bed, she texted Tina. "Laura, thanks for the idea. I'm officially a travel hacker now." Tina, "Told you so." "Where to next?" Laura, "Somewhere warm. And cheap. And maybe with fewer layovers." Credit card reward programs can be great tools if used responsibly, paying off the balance each month and never spending more than you normally would. Play the game smart, and you might just find yourself flying farther than you imagined. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share. More stories are coming soon.